Wellness Wednesday, 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 Wellness Wednesday.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to
Welcome
Wellness
back.
Wednesday. I'm Iris,
And I'm Christy.
and today we're talking about something that doesn't get said enough. You don't have to wait till you have a breakdown to get therapy.
No, you don't. You don't have to wait till the battle is over.
You can shout now.
Come on, somebody.
Well, let me read this right here,
Okay.
Christy. It says, a lot of us grew up thinking therapy is like a fire extinguisher.
Mm-hmm.
You break down the glass when things are burning down. But if I told you that therapy can also be a daily tool, not just emergency equipment.
That's right.
So in this episode, we're just going to dig in a little bit and talk about why therapy is just powerful when things are all okay and when things are falling apart. So let's talk about it, sis.
Let's dive in. The first thing I want to address is the crisis myth that you have to seek therapy when you're in a crisis, you're at your breaking point, you're at the bottom, in the well of darkness. No. Sometimes you can combat the crisis beforehand by going ahead and getting help and realizing I'm struggling with something right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go talk to somebody and figure out what I need before it gets worse. Sure, therapy can be life-changing when you're dealing with grief, trauma, or anxiety. But what about when you're just feeling stuck? And I think it's a lot of people out there. If we really ask ourselves the question, do I feel stuck? We can go back to those dimensions that we talked about previously. Do I feel stuck emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially? Am I stuck in any of those areas of my life or unsure of what's next? Or even when things are going fine, but something seems just a little bit off.
Yeah. Just can't put a foot in it.
Just can't put your finger on it. It's the same thing about your car tune-up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're driving, you start hearing a little tinkling and carrying on. Now, what if you just kept driving and not address the tinkling?
Mm-hmm.
The next thing you know, you're on the side of the road, Highway 49, looking crazy. If you had just went to the auto mechanic and let them check under that hood.
Yes.
Come on.
Check under the hood.
Check under the hood. And Mike could have figured out that thing beforehand.
Right.
You know? The truth is, therapy isn't just damage control. I love how they say that. Good. It is not just damage control. It's a tool for growth. Mm-hmm. We all should be evolving daily. You're not the same person that you were even a year ago, let alone 5 years ago when you were a teenager or a child. Mm-hmm. It's like going to the gym, not because you're broken, but because you want to feel stronger. Come on.
That's good, Chris.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not feeling your best self, why not go seek some help or some support so that you can feel good again?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, so many people wait until they're overwhelmed, burnt out before reaching out.
Right.
Burnt out before reaching out. Why? Because we've been taught that asking for help means something is wrong. And that's not the case. It doesn't mean something's wrong. Something can just be off. I could just be feeling stuck. I may just not have an answer. I'm looking for something and I just don't know. And maybe if I get a different perspective from somebody, I'll know which direction to go in. But what if therapy was something you could lean into before things got heavy?
Woo!
That'll preach right there.
All by itself.
All by itself. If you lean in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on, somebody. Go ahead, sis, before I get to talking real good. Go ahead.
Okay, let me go on to segment 2. It said, what can therapy look like? Let's break it down. It said, what does therapy actually look like when you're not in a crisis?
Okay.
It could be a space to reflect on relationships.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that last week.
So I think we talked about identifying what relationships that we need to have.
Mm-hmm.
Are they toxic? Or we need to start cutting off people?
Mm-hmm.
Separation, whatever you need to do. Identify what those areas are in those relationships. Now, if there's more taking and not receiving,
cut it
Yeah, you need to cut it out.
Get them on out of there. It's not conducive to what you're trying to do.
Right.
It's a hindrance. I'm not going to have somebody in my life or something in my life. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It could be a thing. It can be the space I'm in. It can be the job I'm working. It can be the environment. I'm not going to have myself in a situation that's not going to be conducive to productivity, to success, to my happiness, my well-being, my wholeness and wellness.
How about this? Because so often when even with friends or even with some of the people that we serve in the community, they often say, why do I keep tracking the same stuff?
That's it. The same type of people.
Same type of people.
Because that's what you're putting out there. We got to really take a look of what we're exerting. What message are we sending to people? Just by how we look.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing that people take note of. How am I walking up to somebody? And then what's coming out of my mouth? If I'm speaking negativity, if I'm already downing myself and have these negative self-thoughts, then people are going to bring that back to me.
Right. That goes back to setting boundaries. People ain't going to keep flocking to you. Start setting some boundaries.
Setting boundaries.
We start setting boundaries.
And cut some of that stuff off.
Oh.
They'll turn around.
They get gone.
Be like, let me get away from around here.
She ain't acting right. She
ain't the same. Growth. Growth is beautiful. Change. Go ahead, sis.
It says also, even with work and family, sometimes that can be a hindrance, a barrier. Like we said, not cutting those things off. You got the same family members coming, doing the same thing. And then you find yourself, I'm depressed, or you have an attitude, you're isolating yourself from the family. So we have to set those boundaries.
Change, any type of change can be a struggle for people. Some people don't like change. I think somebody mentioned that in our impact session last Wednesday. Change can be difficult for people. And sometimes you need to have, go to therapy just to process what just happened. The change of environment. Moving. A new job. Or having children. Starting a family. Getting married. When you've lived your life one way for a certain amount of time, that can be a struggle for some people to adjust. And so you might have to, it's called transition. So you might have to talk to a therapist about this new life transition that you just had.
And also, Chris, it could be the simple thing of people not really knowing where they are, who they are.
That's true. Yeah, identity.
So, like you said, therapy can just be about addressing that. It does, like we said, it doesn't always have to be about those traumatic experiences.
That's true.
Just getting to know yourself. Like you said, I'm stuck here. I need to figure out how to maneuver past this. Just to, okay, I'm sorry.
And if you go in even a little deeper, we're talking about a person's, when you're talking about identity, you're talking about your values, your purpose.
Yes.
Who am I now? When you have, growing up, we take on the ideas and the values of our parents because that's what they teach us, right? But as you go into adulthood and venture out into the world, now you have other people's values and perceptions to digest and try to see if this is something that is going to be activated in my life. And so some people struggle with trying to figure out, who am I now? Or what's my purpose?
Or what's getting in your way? What's getting in your way of your purpose?
That's good. I want to learn more in life and getting in the way. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
None of these things require mental health emergency.
No.
They just require curiosity and a willingness to grow.
That sounds good.
The next one would be therapy as maintenance. Now that's good. Maintenance. We talked about that. We have to go get an oil change, right? You have we have those taxes on our cars that I don't even understand, and then we have to make sure that our cars are right in order to get
the tags
right.
Yeah.
And so that's maintenance. We go in to see our doctors for our annual physical checkups. That's maintenance. It doesn't necessarily have to be an emergency, right? So if I'm just going to make sure I'm good for the next 12 months, that's called maintenance. And we all need to do that. Think about how we treat our physical health. We brush our teeth daily. We go get checkups. We stretch or exercise to prevent injury. We talk about athletes. You were an athlete, right?
Yeah.
Did you do something? Yeah.
You said did not do so. Oh, you trying to act like you didn't see me out there.
So you have to what? Stretch and do all that type of stuff to make sure that you don't have any injuries. Therapy is emotional maintenance.
Right.
I want to leave that with some people. Emotional maintenance. When you go regularly, you become more aware of your thoughts, patterns, and triggers. You notice red flags before they become sirens.
Before they become sirens.
Before they become sirens. A lot of times we don't even know where our triggers are. We just spaz out on people and don't even know why. And so if you know that about yourself, I'm easily angered or hostile, or I catch an attitude, that might be a good sign that you might need to go see somebody to figure out what's going on with me. Why do certain things set me off? Why am I easily triggered? And realizing that is a trigger for me, probably because of something that happened when you were younger in your past and you weren't aware of it, and now that's a trigger anytime it comes up. But you shouldn't be responding in such a negative way like that.
Right.
So when you go to therapy, you learn coping skills. You learn what the trigger is, then you learn how to counter it or respond to it in a positive and safe way.
Okay. The next segment is busting common myths. I don't need therapy. I have friends. Now, it's good to talk to other people. But when you have friends that are pretty much in the same boat that you're in, y'all just feeding off of each other.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting anywhere.
You out there in the middle of the ocean in the same life raft, waiting for somebody to come rescue, a big ship or a plane to come rescue y'all. Y'all can't help each other. You out there treading water equally, struggling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Friends, like we say, friends are amazing, but they're not trained to help you unpack deep-rooted patterns. That's good right there.
That's good right there. Now, it's okay to have emotional support.
Yeah.
And to have a listening ear. But when you have stuff that you really, really need to dive, that's rooted and grounded, it's deep, you need to have someone who is trained, who can assist you and make sure it's a safe place for you to land. Because some of the stuff that you're going to go through might be traumatic. And it can be overwhelming, and you need to have someone who can navigate that with you and for you. And sometimes your friends, your grandma, Bessie, and Aunt Martha, they can pray for you and speak positivity.
Yes.
But you have to have someone who can really dive in and be there for you and have those tools that you need to get through.
Yes, I totally agree with that. It says therapy is a space that's fully about you. No advice giving and no judgment. We often tell them that when we're counseling or seeing our clients that there's no judgment zone. We want you to feel free to talk, to be able to get those things out. And then sometimes you don't have that with your friends.
No. Because they know stuff about you, they start to judge you and they look at you sideways.
Come on, that's where I was going.
People got too much of our information. And they use it against you. And then you wonder why you're sitting in a corner and you don't have anybody.
Right.
Because you chose the wrong people to trust and to show that vulnerability to. As a therapist, we have no bias. There's no judgment. We don't know you from a can of paint. All we're here to do, we're emotionally invested in your wellness. So we're here to help navigate that for you. We're offering a safe place. A place for you to be open and honest. Because if you're not, there's not going to be any progress. We're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
And then friends and family, there's emotions tied into that as well. I think we talked about that last week. Where if I'm sharing something with you, let's say I'm trying to address something that triggered me and made me feel some type of way, right? And if I'm trying to process that with you, you could possibly get in your feelings.
Right.
Now we're combative. We're not actively listening to each other. So now I feel even worse, and now the other person's mad. We've got nowhere. We made the situation worse. Where if you go to a therapist and process that, role play it, model it out, you might have a more successful outcome when you finally are ready to go to that person, because it's not coming from an emotional state of being.
Right.
It's not reactive or impulsive. You've processed it, you understand it, and now you can take it to somebody.
Here's the other myth. It says therapy is too expensive. They have so many things now, like therapists offer sliding scales. There are also group therapy options. There's low cost clinics. There's even online platforms. Numbers that you can call 1-800 numbers to speak with someone that's accessible to you.
Yeah, and we have those at the in our description for people who just need something or someone to talk to and process. But the first thing I will always tell people is, if you have insurance, contact your insurance provider.
Yes.
Because chances are you have benefits, a package, a wellness package, or mental health package where you can go see a therapist or a counselor or a life coach or whatever you're looking for. You have that option. And then my other suggestion would be DSS, like we said before. Your local community DSS. They're going to have different options that are cheaper and available, or also free for you. And then if you go online, which we talked about, credible websites and organizations that you can go to that will offer affordable counseling and therapy services for you as well. And then there's the free options. Let's say somebody who's just starting out, you just want to be able to call or text somebody just to bounce some things off. That stuff is available to you as well, but it's not expensive. And I don't want anybody to have that stop them from getting the help they need.
And the other myth is only people with trauma go to therapy. You touched on this a little bit earlier. That's definitely not true. Everyone has a mind, emotions, and a story, and therapy can help you understand and shape yours, whether or not it's trauma a part of it. Trauma doesn't have to be a part of it for that to happen.
No. Trauma is vastly on the other side of the scale. When we're talking about you just starting out coming to therapy, we're at the lower end of a scale of 0 here. We're talking about maintenance. We're talking about preventive things. Yes, you do have people who really need to on the opposite end of that scale, who really need to see somebody, because it's dangerous. It can be a danger to themselves or other people. But when we're talking about just having a conversation with someone, that could be for any and everybody.
Right.
So the door is open. All you have to do is ask yourself the question: do I have some struggles? If I do I need someone to bounce some things off and process? If that answer is yes, then this episode we're talking to you. So the last question is how to start. So if you're thinking maybe therapy can help me, or don't know where to begin, start here. Ask yourself, what's something I've been thinking about a lot about lately?
Yes.
Now that is the first question. We all know we have thoughts, right? Some of those thoughts are repetitive. So if you notice I have this specific repetitive thought always coming up, chances are that's an issue for you. And so this would be a great place to start. Or, where in my life do I feel stuck or unsettled? That's good too. You could be looking at financially. You could be looking at professionally, career-wise. Right. Do I feel stuck? You could be spiritually stuck, which I want to do a podcast about that, because last week we had talked about spiritual self-care.
Yes, we did.
In our impact session. So I would love to dive deeper into that. But spiritually stuck, that's a thing too. And so if you're curious and you're ready, look into therapists in your area. We talked about Psychology Today. That's a website that you can go on. They filter it by your zip code, by your insurance, and your specific area of what you're looking for, your purpose. Type that in, hit those filters, and they'll show you a list of therapists in your area that could possibly meet your needs. and who specialize in what you're looking for. So we're talking about relationships. We're talking about life transitions, anxiety, identity. You don't have to be committed forever. Now that's
Right.
another thing. Therapy doesn't have to last forever. Some people like to just have check-ins.
That part.
Quarterly, I might go check in with my therapist just to make sure for maintenance. We talked about that. For maintenance to make sure I'm okay. Some people need it bi-weekly. Some people need it weekly. It just depends on what it is that you need, and you and your therapist will come up with a treatment plan that's specifically designed for you.
That's it.
So it's not this long-term commitment. You can go in there and say, this is something I just want to try, see if it fits me and my needs.
Right.
Then so y'all come up with a plan of how you're gonna move forward. Or you can say, I'm just coming in because I just feel like I need a little quick maintenance. And then I'll check in maybe 3 or 4 months from now.
Right.
So don't let that deter you either. Because we hear that a lot now. It ain't something I want to do every I want to see and talk to you every week. You don't have to. It's your treatment. And you drive this vehicle. Try one session and see how it feels. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
Okay. Well, let's wrap this up and close it out. It says so. Whatever you're navigating through a storm or just sailing steady, therapy is a powerful tool.
Yes.
It's not just about surviving; it's about thriving. If today's episode sparked something for you, I'd love to hear about it. And if you have been considering therapy, let this be your gentle nudge.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve support,
Mm-hmm.
not just when things are hard, but all the time.
Yes.
And we want to say, guys, thank you again for listening and take good care. And what you going to say something, sis?
I want to tell everybody to make sure they jump on over to YouTube.
Yes.
H3C PLLC. H3C PLLC. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, y'all.